Welcome back, mamas. Y'all, today we are going to talk some more about priorities, about beginning with the end in mind, and how that can have such a big impact on our mom lives, and why, as moms, I know it can be hard as a mom to begin with the end in mind. There are so many different things that come up, but why that's so important and how to do it as a mama. So let's get to it. Do you wish you had control of your days, that you had a rhythm, but instead feel overwhelmed, scattered, and like there's never enough time? You're in the right place. I'm Danielle, a recovering workaholic, wife, and stay-at-home mom of two girls. I've learned how to reclaim my time and find purpose and freedom so I can be present with my kids and feel like myself again. Here, we embrace where we are, but we don't stay there. So if you're ready to trade the chaos for clarity, the guilt for grace, and the endless to-do list for aligned flow, grab the kiddos a snack and toss in that laundry because I know you're multitasking, and let's do this because your time, your purpose, and you matter. Okay, mamas. So today I want to talk to you some more about priorities. I know last week, if you did not listen to last Thursday's episode, you will definitely want to go listen to that about how scheduling your priorities is so important. But over the weekend, I got to thinking about, I'm going to tell a story about my deck and why I got to thinking about how setting your priorities and actually beginning with the end in mind are so intertwined, why it's so important as a mom that we do this, and how we can try to make sure we are thinking about the end and actually what it is that we want and why, and how that makes all of our other decisions and things so much easier for us. So I'm going to use my story as an example, but I'm going to start first with a quote from Stephen Covey because I love Stephen Covey. Y'all know I love the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I used 2 of his quotes last week, and he is so good when it comes to prioritizing and prioritization. So he says to begin with the end in mind means to start with a clear understanding of your destination. It means to know where you're going so that you better understand where you are now. And so the steps you take are always in the right direction. So that the steps you take are always in the right direction. We are not always going to have it all figured out, right? We are not always going to have this linear path to where we are going. But so that we are taking the steps in the right direction, even if it's a little bit of a zigzag, curvy path to get there, so that we know where we're headed and we know that we're always on the right track, right? We're headed in the right direction instead of going backwards. And I was reminded of this over the weekend when I was trying to put all of the furniture into, if y'all have heard, we remodel our whole deck, and the whole purpose, not the entire purpose, like we needed a new deck. We needed the new, like the boards were ready to be replaced and things like that. And so we decided, though, one of the big things I really wanted was a screened in portion. And we really decided that was super important to us. And we wanted a part to not only sit in out there, right? Like I would love to sit out there every morning and do my devotional and read my Bible and drink my coffee or my, I have everyday doze now or mud water. Like I don't drink coffee really much anymore. But anyway, I also would like to have a part that we eat in out there, right? So this was going to have to be a fairly large portion of our deck that was screened in. And I had this vision for it, right? Like I wanted it to be this great place where I could do that. And also we could eat as a family because every time we try to eat outside as a family now, we like basically live in the woods. And so bees or mosquitoes or whatever, it's literally not like 10 or 15 minutes in. And we are being attacked by bugs and my girls are like screaming and the bees are trying to get in our food and like all of this stuff, right? So we decided to screen it in. Well, this was the point, right? Like it was the point. The point was to have this space where we could sit and we could have an eating area, right? So I spent all of this time and energy thinking about all of the ways that I wanted to enjoy this. However, what I didn't think about was the actual like furniture and how it was going to work out there, right? Like I didn't take the time. I was so like, I don't know, caught up in some of the other questions that were needed to be answered, like what type of roof we were putting on and I didn't want the like aluminum railing. I wanted like the cable rail so that you could see through it. And so I had to go out and find the cable railing because my contractor, he had told me that the railing that he had used in the past would sag and you would always have to like readjust it. And so I did a bunch of research on the roof and the railing. But what I did not do was think about the actual layout of the space. Like I knew it would be a large enough space, but I wasn't thinking about like for instance the placement of the doors, right? Like when it came time to put the doors in, he had decided where he wanted them to go, where he thought they would best go. And I was like, "Well, wait, hold on. But I want to be able to sit and look." So like it was literally the day that that decision had to be made, and like within the hour that decision had to be made, and I was like, "Wait a second, I need to refigure out, like I never really thought about that. Like we can't have the door there because I want to have a couch there and like the window opens that way, and like if you put a door there, where am I going to put my couch to be able to look out?" And like, so I was like, oh my gosh, I was kind of in a panic because I was now in a situation where I had to make a decision, and what I couldn't go and like look at furniture. I hadn't done that piece yet, but this was the whole purpose to it, right? Like the whole purpose to what I wanted to do was having this area that we could use and enjoy. And depending on where we put these doors, because there has to be one on each side, and it's open on one side, screened in the middle, and open on the right side. So a door has to go out to the right and a door has to go out to the left. And so I needed two doors plus the interior doors to come out to the screened in part from the inside, right? So all of that area is off limits. You can't put furniture in front of all of that stuff, right? So I just wasn't thinking about that when we were designing the whole thing. And it was like something that I had missed. I was beginning with the end in mind to an extent, but I didn't think of everything, right? Like there's always things that come up that if we do not plan, right? This is going back to Thursday. Like I said, go listen to last Thursday's episode if you did not listen. But you have to begin with the end in mind. So, like, what I should have done at the beginning is say to my contractor, like, what are all the decisions that need to be made, right? Like, what are all the things that I'm not necessarily seeing right now, but they're decisions that I need to make in order to make this space right? Or, what are the things that we need to think about in order to make this space work the way that I want it to? I should have done that at the beginning, right? And I know this. I know this. This is exactly how we should live our mom lives. This is exactly how we should be going about our lives as moms is we need to think of what is the end in mind? Like what is the ultimate goal? Like what do we want? What is important to us, right? What are those things? And we work backward from there, right? We work backward from there. We're able to make decisions based on what their end goal is, right? We're able to make decisions based on what's best for us and what's best for our family, not just making a decision in the moment because we're now presented with it, right? We have thought about what is important to us. And we're not just going at it, by the seat of our pants. Now, I wasn't necessarily going by everything by the seat of my pants, but I'm sure a lot of people do, right? Like a lot of people, my contractor, if it weren't for me, like coming up with all of these ideas, he definitely had ideas that he was going to have done because that's the way he was seeing it in his head as far as the roof goes, as far as the railings went, as far as everything. If I didn't take the time to talk with him through those things, he already had a plan. Like he's done these before. He's going to use what he's familiar with. And unless you tell him otherwise, like he's just going to do that. And then you're going to be in the moment and you're just going to be kind of like blindsided by what is going on or having to make a decision on the fly, not having done any research, right? And that's exactly what happens to us as moms is if we don't take the time to plan on the front end or to come up with our priorities on the front end or to figure out what the most important things to us are, What are the most important things to you in your life? And let's prioritize those, right? Like, what are the most important things that we need to focus on right now? And when we have an end in mind and then we work backward from that, it is so much easier to live our day to day life. And it is so much easier to make decisions on the front end that then when you're in the moment, you can easily make another decision. Like if you've already decided, oh, this is exactly what I want. I know what my strengths are. I know what my priorities are. I know what is important to me and my family. I know what my core values are. I know all of these things. And when I'm in the moment, I can make a decision more easily from that place because I know all of those things. But when you don't and you're stuck and you're, in a situation in your day to day and you're trying to make these decisions, you're going off of, well, what looks shiny or what seems to be the best thing, or what am I like, I'm afraid I might miss out on this if I don't do this because I kind of feel like maybe that's important to me. But I don't really know. I mean, it has been important to me. Let's go and try this, right? Like, let's just go ahead and do that because I feel like that might be the right answer. And then you do it and then you realize, no, that really wasn't important to me. Like it was fun, but I really wish we would have done this. Like this can pertain to a lot of different areas of your life, whether it be where you spend your time, where you spend your money, where you spend your vacation, where you spend your, what you decide to do with your free time, what you decide to do with self-care, what you decide to do, activities you decide to have your children in, whatever the case may be. These are all things that we will definitely make decisions and we will fill our time, right? But if we haven't taken the time on the front end to figure out what our priorities are and what is important to us and why that is, then we are going to wind up frazzled, right? We're going to wind up in the moment having to be forced to make a decision that we make right then based on the information that we have, but might wind up not being the best decision. Like we moved the door, right? I moved the door on my deck, but where I decided to move it wasn't necessarily the best place when I thought about it. We put the doors across from one another, and the door is great in the one spot, but on the other side, I probably should have moved the door to the middle. And it didn't need to be necessarily like right on the other side of that door. Like the way that the whole area is designed, but what I could have used is more area by the screens that I wanted to have like my seating area by. Instead, now I'm going to have to like shift things just a little bit. It'll still work, right? But if I had remembered back to what are the most important things to me and what do I want this to look like in the moment, I was like, oh gosh, I got to call my husband, talk to him. Like, we can't have the door here, can we? And he's like, no, we need to move it. And then I'm like, okay, it can't be there. So I go out and I talk to my contractor and we come up with a new location. And he's like saying, it probably look best if they're across from one another. And I'm like, okay, yeah. But really, that's what would look best? Maybe. Like, I don't know. Does it really? Like, do we really need the doors? The area is not a square. It's not a rectangle. It is a very odd shape because of the way that my house is shaped. And so it doesn't really matter if they were across from one another, right? He might have thought that would look the best, but that's not really if I would have thought about what I wanted the area for and what I was going to do with it. I would have moved the door on that side a little bit to the middle, more to the middle, right? But it's too late now and we have to just deal with it, right? But in the moment, that was a decision that I like can't go back on. Now, some decisions in your life, you can just, make a new decision and go about your life. But, there are some decisions that are more final or more impactful on your life. And so those decisions especially are the ones that we want to make sure that we're thinking about, right? So I want to read another quote, and this one is from Jeffrey Benjamin, and it says, set priorities for today by deciding the priorities for your entire life. That is kind of the same thing, beginning with the end in mind, right? It's kind of the same thing, but a little bit different. It says, set your priorities for today by deciding your priorities for your entire life. And this is exactly what I teach you how to do in the prioritization clarity calls that we do, right? This is what I do in my coaching because you need to decide what is important to you before you can make your decisions for your day to day. You can much more easily figure out what your priorities are for your day or what they should be for your day when you know what your priorities are for the bigger picture, right? When you have taken the time to do that, it becomes so much clearer and much easier for you to be able to live your life day to day in such a way that is fulfilling and it brings you joy and it brings you peace because you now know what your end looks like, right? You now know the priorities of your whole life. And so you're able to live day to day with that in mind, right? When you have taken the time to clearly set out your values and clearly come up with what is most important to you in this season and where do you want your focus to be, then you are going to be able to go about your day to day in so much more of an empowered place because you know what you want. You know what you want. And when you don't know what you want, or when you think you might not know what you want, and when you feel unsettled and unhappy and scattered and just pulled and busy and all of the things that we tend to feel as moms, you can't make not that you can't make a decision from that place, but you make better decisions when you are in a place of knowing. When you have done this work, you are able to get to the end of your day and feel fulfilled and feel happy and know that you are on that right path, right? Like you've taken a step in the right direction, even if it's a little curvy, like I said, even if it's not a straight line to where you want to go, it is still forward moving instead of taking you steps backwards, right? That is what we want. That is what we want for you. And remember, balance is something that is not really what we are looking to achieve either. It's not about balance. I have another quote from Elizabeth Hasselbeck that says, "Nobody's life is ever all balanced. It's a conscious decision to choose your priorities every day." It is. It's a conscious decision to choose your priorities every day because your life is never going to be completely balanced. I like to call it aligned flow, right? When we know where our priorities lie, there's not just going to be one priority, right? There's never just one. We have a lot of priorities in our life. But where are we focused? What are the ones that we want to have the heaviest at this moment? And then what are the others? And we're able to live in this aligned flow when we know that, so that there are moments when we're focused on one or the other, but we flow in and out of those areas in alignment with what is important to us. That's why I call it aligned flow, right? Balance, it assumes that things are equal on all sides, right? So that the scale is able to balance, right? You think of a law scale, right? Where both sides are equal or, one side is heavier than the other, right? We don't want that, right? We don't want that, like, to have to figure out how to make everything equal all the time. It's a flow in and out of what is important to us when, right? And it's that flow that gives us so much power to be able to know that we are on the right path and moving in the right direction. And that is what I want for you so much. It's why I've developed these prioritization clarity calls that you can schedule with me right now. If you go to prioritizewithpurpose.com, on my website, you will see where you can sign up for one of those calls. If you still have any questions, please sign up for a free discovery call with me, and I will answer any of those so that you can move forward. I promise you, if you are struggling, if you know that you need this balance, quote unquote balance, this aligned flow in your life, if you know that you need work on your priorities, if you know that you need help trying to figure out what are those things for you, I can help you to do that. I have a process. We walk through it together. It is going to allow you to do what you need to do, right? And not have to work and worry about how to figure this out for yourself. I have steps that you will walk and you will figure this out and you will be going on that journey towards where you want to go. And it doesn't have to feel like this daunting task, right? Like sometimes when I say that you need to begin with the end in mind, you might be like, well, I have no idea what that looks like. But with this program, you are going to, step by step figure that out for yourself. And you might not start out knowing, but I believe if we really get still and get clear and you answer these questions and you figure these things out, it will become so clear to you that you will know exactly what you want that end to look like, right? So I would love to help you with that. Just go to prioritizewithpurpose.com/coaching. We'll take you right there. Prioritizewithpurpose.com/coaching. Sign up for the prioritization clarity call and we will walk through this together. So I hope you'll go check it out and I will meet you right back here on Thursday. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, Mama. If so, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts and then hit share and send this to a mom who needs this in her day. I'll meet you right here on Thursday. Keep smiling, y'all.